coming into preseason camp, really the biggest question for me was, what would Auburn's interior defensive line look like and the linebacker room? Those are the two, positions where there wasn't a ton of experience. I knew there's some talent there. And, we've talked about the linebacker some. And, that interior defensive line has been one that has continued to impress me. But on Monday, I got a lot of maybe a reinforcement of those thoughts following a practice. You talk to coaches, and we talked to all the offensive coaches, and Jake Thornton and those guys were talking about that interior defensive line and how good they've been. Talked to some other folks, but also talked to, in particular, one NFL scout that I've got to know pretty well, and said, hey, it looks a little different. He's like, absolutely it does. And the first thing he brought up was Auburn's interior defensive line and defensive line as a whole. He mentioned Kieron Crawford as a guy that he felt like was getting ready to be a difference maker. And, talking about, when you have a guy like, Keldrick Falk on the other side, and you have some bodies, how different it makes. And again, I continue to hear some stuff about Dallas Walker, and there were some NFL scouts that were saying, hey, we were wondering where that guy wound up. And he's a big body that can move, but those freshmen inside, and Bobby Jameson, Travis, we continue to hear about this Auburn defensive line. And hey, talking to the offensive coaches on Monday after practice, they're saying, like, these guys are making it tough. And especially when you kind of, you go against each other, what's coming a little bit. And so it becomes a little like, hey, I know what's there. You got to beat me to the punch. And this defensive line is doing a great job of challenging what I think is going to be a pretty good Auburn offensive line. So, hey, a long way to go. Still a lot of questions to be answered. But, man, so far in camp, that Auburn defensive line has been one of the surprises for me.